Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to another episode of my recap / review of 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. This is season 3, episode 8. Is it episode 8? Let's confirm that. Woo! This was a good old episode, y'all. Okay, so actually currently right now while this video is up, I am on 90 Day Live, a new superfan show that premieres right after 90 Day Fiancé. So go on ahead and stop this video and go onto TLC and watch me on TLC right now. You guys, they sent me this episode early. Today's July 5th. I received this episode July 2nd. I've watched it 4 times. It's so good. I've watched the ending sequence, the fight with Pedro and River, like 7 times. And I want to watch it again right now because every time I watch it, I see something new and it makes me cackle, kickity cackle. I know that's what you guys are waiting for. So just sit back and relax. This is going to be a 2-parter and we'll talk about Pedro and Chantel when we get to them, girl. So the couple that we're going to talk about first is Jorge and Anfisa. And their segment was very small, so let me just tell you what I thought of it. First of all, we have Anfisa walking up to a restaurant, body snatched in some patent nude Louboutins. I am 100% feeling this outfit. I mean, the girl just understands what's happening. She understands she's on camera and she knows what's going on. So her and Jorge get to a restaurant. They sit down in front on the patio section. And she's like, look, I wanted to talk to you. And it's all very set up and scripted, right? Like she couldn't have spoken to him at home. She had to like get dressed up and go to a restaurant and then sit down. Jorge's like, so what did you want to talk about? And she's like, you know your ex? And he's like, yeah. She's like, you know how she reached out to me 2 years ago when I was still in Russia? And he's like, yeah. Well, she reached out to me again. So this conversation ensues in which Jorge denies all paternity. And Anfisa can't believe him. And the reason why Anfisa cannot believe him is because he is known to lie. The craziest lie of all was him lying to her during their confessionals in front of all the producers who know in fact that he did go and see a divorce lawyer with Lourdes, denied that he even did that. And was like, I don't know why they're saying that. And she's like, I'm gonna see the playback. You might as well tell me the truth. And he's like, I don't know what they're talking about. I mean, he literally denied it so many times in a row that I thought he might have had amnesia. You know, short-term amnesia that Jorge's got going on, because for him to emphatically deny something that everyone in the room knows happened except for Anfisa is stupid. That's just what it is. It's stupid. So there's no reason for her to believe him. So she's like half smiling. You know, you always tell when Anfisa's acting when she like half smiles throughout everything she says. And you can tell when she's not acting when she's like literally yelling and hitting him. So she's sitting there and she's just like, well, you know, she reached out to me and told me that the daughter is yours. And Anfisa has seen a picture of the daughter and she can't determine whether or not it's Jorge's baby or not. Like it doesn't look enough like Jorge for her to be like, that's your child. So he's denying it and she's just like, well, I don't know whether or not to believe you. Smile, smile, smirk. And he's like, well, if it's not one thing, it's another thing. And she's like, yeah, it's not one thing or it's another thing. And it's all because you lie. Like that's always why it's an issue, is because you lie. So then Jorge says, well, if that's my baby, why hasn't she done anything? Why is she doing something all of a sudden right now? I think it's because she sees that we're happy. And Anfisa's like, we're happy? In his mind, we're happy. And I'm like, what have I been watching then? You know, complete fabrications? Then Anfisa's just like, well, I don't think she could just go to the courts and say like, this is his child and all of a sudden you have to pay child support, which in fact is true, Anfisa. All she literally had to do in the beginning was just say that this person was the father, and until he can prove otherwise, like he is. So Jorge would have then had to get a DNA test or whatever to prove that he wasn't the father, because I think that's how it works. They don't actually, like, especially if they put the man's name down on the birth certificate, like, that's your baby. It could honestly be Jorge's baby. Like, I don't believe him at all. So Anfisa's just like, well, I want to have a meeting with her. And Jorge's like, cool, I'll have a meeting. That's fine, I'll set it up. So Anfisa gets out her phone and she shows him the person's number. And then Jorge then calls this person and leaves a very short, non-specific voicemail. I don't know if they blocked something out. I don't know if TLC edited to make it seem like he was just like, hey, blah, blah, blah. This is George. We know each other from forever ago. Please call me back. Like, that's basically what it was. If it were me, I wouldn't have called him back. But obviously, this must be set up with producers to have some kind of big reveal. So I am kind of excited to see what happens, and I do hope that they do a paternity test for that. But I want Anfisa to get out of this relationship. You know, I just really feel like he thinks that she should be lucky and grateful to have him whenever he feels like he has the upper hand or when he lies to his family and tells him untruths about her. But the truth is that, to me, Jorge's a low-key scammer and a liar, and he just wants what he wants because he wants to feel good about himself really bad. And part of me feels bad for him because of that. I just want him to get some esteem and to go to a counselor and get this issue fixed. So Anfisa doesn't actually believe that they're gonna get together. Like, the fact is that she believes even if the person does reach out to George, that George won't do what he needs to do to make sure that all three of them can get into a room and have a conversation. I think that sucks. So she's not feeling positive about this situation at all. Okay, so the next couple that we are going to talk about is Molly and Luis. The Molly and Luis. All right, so with Molly and Luis, again, Luis is not in this episode because he has left and gone to New Jersey, I assume to stay with his brother. And Molly has officially filed for divorce. She was wearing this really crazy outfit to the divorce lawyer. I still love her though, but it was a lot of texture going on. It was like army pants and like burgundy Adidas maybe, and then like a burgundy top that was like lace burgundy here and like solid and maybe some like pleating up in here, and then like a fur vest black. It was just so much, you know what I mean? But I still love her. So she gets in the car and she talks about how she spent a lot of money dealing with this and that she feels like she was cheated, and she's just really bummed. And she says that she can't spend time crying about it right now. She's just trying to pick up the pieces of her life, and no one's gonna help her do that. She's gonna have to do it on her own. She's gotta repair relationship and trust with her daughters, especially Olivia. She's got to figure out the financial part of it. She's got to hope that he leaves and goes back, or that he gets his green card and never bothers her again, you know? So later she goes and meets Jess at a restaurant, and they are talking, and Jess is feeling a little bereft because he felt like he got really close with Luis while Luis was there, and for Luis not to contact him at all, not to say, hey, I'm in New Jersey, you know, I'm really sorry about the way things turned out, boo, bye, nothing. He hasn't said anything to him. So Jess is like, that sucks. It turns out that Molly found out that Luis, at least in the last leg of their relationship, was using a lot of data, and he was all over these interwebs talking to all kinds of ladies and getting pictures and all kinds of stuff. So she never said that he cheated on her, but he definitely was talking to other girls and other people and making it seem like he didn't have any friends and he was so bored and all this stuff. And she was just like, well, you used up all my data. You know, she wants to turn off the phone and settle everything up, and she finds this and she tells this to Jess, and Jess is just like sad, you know, because he really wanted this to work out for his sister. And I feel them both. She also talks about how the lawyer told her that Luis is having an upcoming trial and that she needs to go to the trial and prove that he came here under false pretenses. And that doesn't sit well with me because there has been no real evidence that he has. And Molly says that she thinks that he thought that she was this rich lady who just had like all these resources to do everything. And when he got here and he realized it was much more hands-on than what he thought, that's when he became very disillusioned, and he was like, this is not my life. Like, I think he thought that she was richer and that he was going to live a life of leisure, and he was going to not have to really take care of the girls. There would probably be a nanny or someone there to take care of them. Like, I think he just had grander ideas. And don't get me wrong, Molly's not a pauper. Like, she's able to go on vacation and like probably do and buy almost anything that she wants within reason, but like not enough to have all this extra stuff, you know? To be able to have like a nanny and like all this kind of stuff, you have to be making a lot of money a year, you know? So he just wasn't aware of that. But is that false? Like, I think he would have been with her and stayed faithful to her if he had the fun her, if he dealt with, you know, Molly who went to work, but on the weekends and like in the evenings they got down and they went out and they did stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if she didn't have the extra burden of really having to actually physically be there with her daughters, like, I think that's what he thought. Or he thought that Kinsley would be with her dad more. Like, you know, they can go out and like do stuff. And it just wasn't what he thought it was going to be. So I think on both sides, it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. So I would hope that she wouldn't go to the trial and try to make up this idea that he came here for all the wrong reasons and he never loved her. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's not that I thought that he was in love with her, but you could love somebody based on the things that they give you. You know, you could like feel like, oh my God, like this is the greatest and I'm having a great time. And I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, I know some of you out there are probably like, nah, Luisa was trash from the beginning. But I would like to think the good in people. And I would like to think that I could move to another country and live with somebody who was giving me everything that I wanted. And like, I can love someone, you know? Moment. I could love someone. I don't necessarily know that it needs to be true love or the only love or, you know, whatever, but I could love somebody and stay faithful to them if my life was good. Is that wrong? Am I wrong? I wonder what she's gonna do. Is she gonna do what she needs to do to prove that he came here under false pretenses? Or is she just gonna see what happens, you know? If they give him the green card, she's on the hook for 10 years. So, I don't know. It's a really hard place to be in between. Yeah, she wants him to go back. But would she like kind of lie in order to make that happen? Is my question. Maybe to save some money, girl. So the next couple that we're going to talk about is Nickel and Azan. So this episode with them was pretty straightforward. I think I love Robalee. Like, she's my favorite character of their storyline. And on this day, they get to Azan's town. I think Agrabah. That's not it. Agrabah is like a fictional Aladdin place. Oh, it starts with an A though. My bad. Again, some people know that they are on television and some people do not. But Azan's mother knows that she's on television, honey. I mean, she opens the door in this beautiful black, burgundy, yellow, and white patterned hijab. And it's like the whole entire outfit is this pattern girl. She's looking good. It's like really good on the skin. Like, ah, so cute. So she sits them in the living room. Azan's doing a terrible job of interpreting. Like, he is just not being as like, come in. He's like still nervous or whatever. But she's like, come in, and she sets out a plate of mint tea, possibly, me and Chris were guessing, mint tea and maybe some hummus, you know, maybe some tabbouleh, maybe some like flatbread. Oh, I'm into it. And then they're eating and saying hello, and Robalee's trying to like, you know, say thank you, but it's weird. And so Robalee just ends up eating the snacks that are provided. And I mean, Azan's mother hugs her, embraces her. They do like a cheek-to-cheek kiss type situation, which Robalee's a little confused by. But I guess I just expected Robalee to be, I'm judging Robalee too harshly. And I gave her judgments that isn't her personality. And I thought that it was a really good meeting of the moms. And I wish that the kids were more animated and like, you know, creating a dialogue. There was some awkward moments, but after a while, I think Robalee settled in, the mother settled in, and it was fine. Azan's mother was just like, basically, don't worry about your daughter and your granddaughter. We're taking care of them. We'll take very good care of them. It was like a real good mom-to-mom conversation, and Robalee ended leaving the conversation feeling somewhat relieved. I don't think she still trusts Azan all the way because she wants to have a private conversation with Azan, which I think is smart to have. Also, what was weird was Azan was worried that Robalee was going to start talking to his mother about the problems between the kids. And I'm like, I think that you underestimate Robalee's intelligence. Like, why would she do that? She wouldn't come to someone's house who's letting them in and come with antagonistic intentions, you know? At the end of the day, Robalee is a good Southern woman. She's not gonna walk into this woman's house, you know, with antagonistic ideas to like argue about whether or not the kids should get married. That's not the conversation to be had. She's gonna be gracious and nice when she's in the presence of Azan's mother. And then have a private conversation with Azan with like, what you doing with my daughter? And I think that's perfectly reasonable. Perfectly reasonable. Side note, Robalee was wearing this really cute leather jacket and I was just like, okay, moms, cute. The next part with Azan and Nickel is they go to a notary or something like that in order to get their marriage license or to put in the paperwork to get their marriage license. And it turns out Nicole does not have the right paperwork. I guess she needed original copies of a police record and she's saying that there's no way that she could get that. But I'm like, if you have a copy of it, why don't you just get whoever is back in Florida to mail them to you? Like, is email not a thing? Is like snail mail like overnight not a thing? Like what is the barrier? I didn't really see any real barrier. And so Azan's upset and he's saying that he's worried about what his mother and his sister are gonna think because they're gonna have to push back the wedding until they get that paperwork because otherwise they won't be able to legally be married in Morocco. Why do they need all this? Number one. And also, why, if she brought her original birth certificate, did she not bring the original police documents? I mean, I just have no idea. Azan is mad at her, but he doesn't seem mad, really. He just seems kind of annoyed about the whole thing, and she's sad, and they're, like, worried because people are coming to Morocco to see the wedding. I wonder if TLC is paying for all these tickets. That's my wonder. They're gonna have to push back the date, and it's gonna mess everybody's travel plans up, and I'm just like, well, let everybody know immediately. You know, figure out whether or not your dad can get that information from you. You can call somebody. I mean, this is, like, 2018. Why wouldn't you be able to get that? Like, what do we need to do? They said it's gonna take 10 days. The wedding isn't for 10 days. Like, what if they had the wedding and then when the paperwork came in, then filed? Like, why do they have to stop the wedding is my question. I don't get it. Somebody explain to me if you know why they can't have a physical wedding, and then when she finally gets the paperwork, they just apply for it then. What's the big deal? And also, it just feels so scripted. And so I don't know whether or not to believe that to be true, or they're just hiking it up for the drama. I don't know. It's weird. So the next couple that we're going to talk about is David and Annie. Whew. This was a good one for David and Annie. I mean, it is going downhill for David and Annie, and I feel for Annie so much.